Man, it was times like this that I wish we didn't make a YouTube channel. Milan lose. I'm alone, not even Ozzy, to help me. He's at a wedding, hopefully enjoying a celebration of love. This game was not a celebration of love. Don't mind the graphic. We scored a little too late. Milan lose 3-2 to Atalanta. And the game was too close, honestly, at the end, to really show what kind of a massive, massive failure this game was for everyone involved. San Siro cleared out completely um, just a few minutes into halftime when they scored the third goal. It was embarrassing. And just because we rallied at the end, put a couple goals away, almost tied it up with Gabi as well, with full crew rather upset they didn't get to that ball. Do not be mistaken. This was the proof that this season and this club for 2025, 2026 is done. And with 2 games to go, I cannot confidently say that we're going to be in the Champions League next year. We obviously currently are. We are 1 point behind Juve. We're tied for Roma, but are ahead of them because of the head-to-head matchup. But I do not feel good about this club going to Genoa and Cagliari, not because it's Cagliari, not because it's Genoa, not because who's playing or the decisions that Allegri is made in terms of the personnel, simply because it doesn't matter. They don't run. They've given up. That we have a management that's useless, that's not present, and you can feel the lack of support from them. We have a management that's openly talking about who they're gonna fire in order to keep their seat. So we know that Giorgio Fulani is gonna be there. Now he's gonna fire Tare and he's gonna fire Allegri, and he's gonna bring in a new sporting director, and he's gonna bring a new coach, and he's gonna bring, sell some players and rebuy some players, and we're gonna rinse and repeat, and we're gonna finish 15, 20 points away from the league leaders yet again for the fourth year in a row. And when that happens, when that's the talk that's around the team week in and week out, and you have nothing to play for other than just barely hanging on to a Champions League spot, this is what happens. The players don't care. The players are focused on a World Cup, which is much more important to them in a month. We concede today. Atalanta play well, don't get me wrong. Respect to them, they won this game. But we concede today because we're walking. All the goals, they're just pretty basic 1-2s. Players not being followed. Um, yeah, there's no fight in this team. There's no pride in defending, pride in playing. Um, San Siro is rightfully quiet and empty, and it's as simple as we need Giorgio Fulani to go. But I see there's a few of you in the chat. Appreciate you guys tuning in, keeping me company, because it's the present day. I didn't even want to put in the jersey today. It just felt gross a little bit. So Anthony Lafleur, first of all, thank you for returning to the live reactions. It honestly feels like we might be back going to another Bante era with how badly the club has been run by Redbird, and the fact that Fulani has to constantly interfere in the transfer mercato. The Bante era was pretty dark. That being said, we did finish 8th last year, so those are Bante era numbers. Yes, but I agree with you with the general sentiment. There is this feeling that it's dark times and there's no light at the end of the tunnel. Even if you think about the early days of Maldini, that's end of Bante era. We were struggling still, but there was a plan. There was an idea. If you look at Juve right now, they're just 1 point ahead of us. They have some tough results. They drop some big points, and even when they're winning, you know, the media doesn't like to say it, but they're winning by Cortomuso and not a lot of times defending the 1-0. I mean, they scored a minute in last game against Lecce, and couldn't go further than that. But you can see there's Sans Spalletti. There is an idea of offensive football. there's a plan. Now that can go wrong, of course, it's football. But here there's no plan. It feels like we're gonna scrap and redo the same thing because Fulani wants to keep his job. Yeah, he's gonna fire everyone else but him. He's gonna recycle the whole team. We're gonna have no continuity, and I don't know who it is gonna be. Italiano, who that's the latest flavor of the month. But we're just gonna keep on making the same mistakes, and we just need Fulani to fuck off, and we need this American ownership to either leave or stop being so arrogant and give Milan to proper people of football, like Paolo Maldini, who I miss dearly. Um, Alexander Valerian, thank you for chatting. Good evening, but we know it, but we know it wasn't good. Absolutely good evening to you too. Curva Sud finally had enough, huh? Yeah, I mean the Curvas had various different problems with this management. Um, we'll see. I saw some interesting articles about how this um, sort of uh, the petition that was signed by thousands, hundreds of thousands of people for Fulani to leave, and the general protest may have gone to Fulani. Now I think that might be a little reactionary because there was maybe even bigger protests back when Maldini and Tonali went sort of back to back, and nothing changed. I hope this is not the case. I hope he leaves. I hope this is. I mean, this is. We can't be 4 years of Fulani in. We've had four different managers. I don't know how many sporting directors. Infinite amount of strikers. Infinite amount of players that change in January, in June, um, and the results all the same. We're always 15, 20 points from first place. This year might be even more. It's unacceptable. Like this, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. He's got to go. It's that simple. Um, Nice and funny 999. Thank you for coming and chatting in. I love your responsible profile picture. The only seconds I've enjoyed that game were when Paolo Maldini chants. Absolutely. Big respect for the people that stayed in the stadium and chanted his name. This is we had it all. That's the upsetting part. We had climbed back from Pantera. We won a Scudetto. We went to a Champions League semi-final. We had the best defender of all time, a club legend, a player, a man that simply when players were called by him, when we had this from Teo, we had this from Leao, they were just like, it's Maldini on the phone. Of course, I'm listening. Of course, I'm gonna try to calm. We had it all, and he did it on a budget, um, because we needed to fix our Excel sheets numbers, and he succeeded that. Imagine when we could spend a little bit, and instead we threw it down the drain for these arrogant, useless Excel sheet pushing, just disgusting, arrogant men. Because I bunch Cardinale in there and a few of the others, but especially Furlani. Zion Train, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. At this point, we might as well get Ralph Ragnick. Now that's a good name. That's a good reference right there. This management has to go, but Allegri is not putting his players in the best position. But Fulani must go. Yeah, look, I mean, this is the results. This is again a 3-2 that really could have been, should have been maybe a 3-0, coming after the disgusting performance against Sassuolo, coming after the disgusting performance against Udinese, coming after the disgusting performances that we've had against the Lazio and the Juve of the world. Um, Clearly, when a situation is that bad, everyone's at fault, right? Allegri has his faults. The players, clearly, as I said, they've given up. They have their fault. Um, but I think it would be silly for us to really talk about, okay, you need to put this player here, or you need to play Jashari instead of Ricci, or Ricci instead of Jashari, or, it's all Allegri's fault, or it's all Leao's fault. When clearly the problem is upstairs. Football is a lot of also about vibes and locker room, and taking pride in fighting. For Scudettos, it's easy. For derbies, it's easy, but take pride in going to Sassuolo and trying to secure a Champions League spot. And there is some that can do it naturally, like Luka Modric, and that's why he's, the champion that he is. And some that need a structure of a management and a team that works. And when our management is more busy interviewing the next sporting director so that they can fire the current sporting director and manager. How do you expect these players to react when they know, look, we got a World Cup to go to in a month? Most of them maybe are also thinking, yeah, I'm gone because all of our strikers are apparently gone. Um, and they're saying, maybe I'm not gone, but this manager is gone. What are you supposed to do now? Should they take more pride in wearing the jersey and fighting? Of course, I mean, absolutely. But this is a snake that needs to be killed at the head. The Americans need to go. Furlani needs to go. And exactly as you said, Zion, Furlani must go. It's disgusting. Ralph Ragnick is a great shot though. Shout out to when we had a deal with him, and then Pioli stayed, and wow, what a big change that would have made. Maybe we would have been in this situation just earlier. Who knows? Nice and funny 999. More protests since the owners came in at trophies makes you think. Yeah, we're becoming protest FC. But this is sort of a plague in Italy overall. I mean, it's what is it, 8, 9 American ownerships, and they're all messing up. I mean, Roma. Now Roma is also a difficult place in general. Um, Atalanta is maybe the best run club in terms of the Americans. They're just too arrogant and they don't understand the culture of football as it is, and especially Italian football. With foreign ownerships, you need the blueprint is Como, right? I think they're Indonesian. They came in majority owners, but they left the footballing side to people of football, to Italian people and people like Cesc Fabregas who understand football and have a plan. You don't. I don't need Giorgio Fulani from becoming from a banker to, you know, head of Milan Football Club. Like, you're no one. Fuck off. Anthony Flora, if Fulani is not one of the first executives to leave the club, nothing will change. Yeah, I mean, tough to argue with that. I think it's that. If he doesn't leave, we're just gonna rinse and repeat, right? Tara is gonna be gone. We're gonna bring in probably the guy from Atalanta. Um, they're gonna get rid of Allegri. Bring in the latest name was Italiano, but we're probably gonna do what we did the last 3 summers, which is wait way too long, get a manager halfway in, not have a proper preparation, not have a proper mercato, buy some other names, you know, 1 or 2 names that are like the Nkunkus and the Joao Felix of the world, which is way too expensive and washed players, and then the rest will be the usual player that's, you know, in their early 20s for 20 mil, which they know they can sell again in a couple of years, even if he does badly, and it make a profit on the balance sheet because of the way the salary spread throughout the years. And that's it, right? And will be a very financially sound club that hopefully makes it in Champions League here and there, and otherwise is fighting for, you know, sixth to third, and that's depressing. I mean, this year we have a squad that's just disgustingly short and untalented, and we were 2 points away from Inter in January, and all we did was bring in Niklas Füllkrug from West Ham. I mean, that that says it. That says it all. That this is the ambition that this club has, um, and it's really a shame. I'd rather. I mean, I remember the Bante era, which was bad, and we had some bad owners, but there was pride. I would still go to San Siro. I would still watch obviously every game, and there was fun. And there was some players that would, you know, they're, you know, memes now, and will be Emmanuel Sons and all that. But there were ballers. There were some low key ballers. There were players that cared about the jersey. Jack Bonaventura, Suso, um, and I don't know. You fought. Here it's like they hijacked the club, and they drove out the biggest legend in the club, the biggest legend in Italy. I mean, arguably one of the best players, definitely the best defender of all time, but you know, top 5 player of all time, Paolo Maldini, kicked him out of the club, kicked out, you know, players that were important to the tifosi. Sandro Tonali is a symbol, as much as he's a good player, and of course, good players come and go, but that has a toll, and now they're doing this. It's like, you know, it's hijacking a club, and it feels like it's not even my club anymore, and it's yeah, truly pretty gross. So F. Stockling, of course, always here to dance in the grave. But thank you for the view. Drop a like, you better. You mother. I won't finish that. Let's get a beer. I need a lot of beers, F. Stockling. So let's get that soon. Yeah. Um, that's it, man. Disgusting. Disgusting. Um, we'll see. Obviously, we're still in Champions League spot, barely. Cannot afford any mistakes. We have Genoa coming up and Cagliari at the end. Um, again, it doesn't really matter who we face. It doesn't matter who we play. If this is the situation that we have, where we're gonna spend this whole week talking about, how Tare and Allegri are gone, and then the players go and walk around. It doesn't matter at this point. I'm like, play Magnan, who also had some mistakes today, but hard to blame him. Play Magnan and the Primavera kids or the Milan Futuro kids at this point, because you don't win football if you don't run. You can have the most talented squad ever. Then if both teams run, then it's a matter of quality. But if the running isn't there to begin with, and the fight isn't there to begin with, there's no point. So play the youth team at this point. Send a message. I don't really care. Today we saw the only time we looked decent was with a few players that tried. Nkunku surprisingly actually looked somewhat alive. I guess there was a little bit more space for him. Pavlovic and the usual. I'm sure Gabbia is speaking to the press because, of course, another humiliating defeat at home. Do you expect management to be there? No, because we don't have one. We don't have a fucking management. So it's going to be poor Gabbia sent to the media to speak on behalf of this disgusting organization. And that'll be that. I will leave it here. Thank you all for tuning in. Gonna get some sleep or try. Despite all of this, always, Forza Milan.